You're listening to Mark of the Maker. Hey everybody, I'm Mark Steiner and you're listening to Mark of the Maker. This is episode 127 of the show, and this time we're gonna chat a little bit with Sean. So we have a little bit of a smaller group. Tom's got some family stuff going on, and he's getting ready for a show, so he's stressing out, and so he's off the hook for this one, and we got together to just kind of record an update on some stuff that's been going on. So we have Mr. Sean Kendrick.
Hey, hey.
And we have Mr. Michael Birch.
I'm here.
All right, so just the three of us tonight. So what's... We're not going to go public that Tom was ousted from Mark of the Maker?
Yeah.
In a coup, a violent coup?
It's caused some drama and some intrigue.
Sadly, there's no coup, there's no drama, no intrigue.
No.
None of the above.
That's what Big Podcast wants you to believe.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're massaging the narrative right now. All right, we have a couple of things we need to take care of up front like we do every episode. We want to say thank you to our friends on Patreon, Patreon.com. This is a place you can go and pledge a few bucks every month to support the show. We have a bunch of different tiers or levels and ways that people can support. And recently we did a little knife giveaway specifically to our Patreon supporters. And the folks at the higher tiers got some more entries, and that was pretty fun, I thought. So anyway, if you want to support the show and you like what we're doing, you want to see us keep on rolling and help us out, go to patreon.com and search for Mark of the Maker, and we would be happy to have your support.
Yeah, thank you guys who pitch in. We really appreciate it. You keep the lights on.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, you got one.
Yeah, speaking of that giveaway knife was provided by the fine folks at Giant Mouse Knives. And man, they make an excellent product. They're good dudes, and I always enjoy doing the ad read for them because it's an ad read that I easily believe in. And, we talk about their folders a lot. We seem to be kind of folder fixated with them. But, man, their fixed blades are really on point, too. And I'm going to point out the GMF4DB fixed blade. I sent you guys a link to it. And this is just a fantastic looking knife. Classic clip point blade, super ergo handle. The version that I'm looking at has black canvas micarta. It comes with a black leather sheath, and it's done up in Bowler N690. And it's got about a 5.6 inch blade. Dude, I mean, it's just what a clip point fixed blade should be. It looks clean, it looks classy, it looks like it can get work done. So head over, check that one out, and check out the rest of what they have to offer. You're not going to be disappointed. And you can find that at giantmouse.com. Tell them Sean sent you.
All right. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Paladin 33, Paladin 33.com. Josh and the folks over there are making some really cool nylon gear, fanny packs. I think there's a backpack in the work. There's dot bags. There's rifle cases, tote bags, you name it. They got a bunch of really, really well-made stuff. I think all of us have some amount of stuff from these guys, and it's top shelf. So definitely go check out Paladin33.com. He's got patches and pouches. He got all kinds of stuff in there buried away in the site. So have a look. This is all 100% made in Oregon with all American materials, which is pretty damn cool. So they're doing it right, and they're making great gear. So go check out Paladin 33.
Dude, it's nylon done Gucci as fuck.
There you go. Great way to put it.
And last but not least, we got Arizona Custom Knives. I think we talked about them so much they felt guilty, and we're like, why don't we just go ahead and start paying them just a little bit for this talk? Because we do talk about them a lot because they have all the knives. They keep all the pictures up. They do consignments. They have about every knife you can think about on their site. Right now, I'm just, they've got a hollow handle Shadow 3 for $875.
Well,
That's actually not bad at all. But anyway,
don't get distracted, Michael.
yeah. ArizonaCustomKnives.com. They're good folks. They've been around for a long time. We appreciate them supporting us. So go support them.
Yeah, and they have this code for free shipping, Mark of the Maker, ! All as one word. Use it to get free shipping in Arizona. So go check them out. Enjoy their website and their vast catalog of current and past knives. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, we're spinning it back around. We're going back in the Wayback Machine we did the whole series with Sean when he was going to school. And Sean went on to become an esteemed professor at his school.
Changed his name to Dr. Klausine von Hardinge.
Yes. And so Sean's been doing the teaching thing, which is, I think, extremely cool and I would guess quite rewarding. And we're interested to hear a little bit more about his life as a teacher. Tell us about that. How did you even decide to do that in the first place?
Well, man, about when Rachel was getting ready to graduate, the guy who was teaching the classes when we took the classes, he got, pretty much a promotion because he's an ASE certified mechanic first and foremost. And the guy who was over the automotives department was retiring, and his my past teacher's name was Todd. Todd interviewed for the job and just completely killed it, and they would have been foolish not to give him that job. So that kind of left the machining department in the lurch a little bit, and my department head was going to have to double down on everything if he couldn't find somebody to cover the classes. And, with Rachel having hers spaced out, and I'd been in there, Kane had been in there, lines of communication were open. I talked to those guys. We were buddies by the time I graduated, pretty good buddies, really. And he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, Todd's leaving me. I need somebody to teach this. Do you think you could help me out and, teach this and see if it suits you?" And, it was one day a week, and man, the pay, it ain't that great. I lose money going in if you're looking, like what I would be making if I was in the shop. But it sounded like fun, and it sounded novel and different, and it gets me out of the house once a week and not just in my own little surreal world of dust and dirt and sometimes frustration out there. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like something I'd like to give a go. And I, showed up, did the first semester. It went smoother than I had anticipated. Not as smooth as I would have liked, but considering I was going in, completely winging it, I can't complain about how it went. And all of my students were actually pretty pleased with, my teaching style. And actually, I got really lucky with that first class. I had a really good group, and they all caught on really well. And it wasn't really too many trials and tribulations. So, I'd rather be lucky than good and I'll take that win any day of the week.
Yeah, man. I can feel Birch recoiling at the idea of leaving the house once a week.
I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
When I was forced to do it for all the kids games and stuff like that, I found that, I got to cut my hair every Sunday and do all this shit. There was, and talk to other parents, and it was kind of eye-opening, but probably good for me.
Man, I sincerely believe it is. It's really easy to just go through the routine. And dude, I know you're like me. I know that there's probably a figure eight or some other formation paste on your floor somewhere where you pace and think and mull over everything to a fucking nth degree that isn't healthy. And man, with the teaching, I have found that I'm totally in that moment the whole time I'm there. I don't think about once sitting on the workbench, I don't think about this or that. I think about making sure that everybody's working on their projects, everybody has a game plan to accomplish their projects, and that if anybody needs help, I'm there and I'm ready to give them the instruction they need. And dude, I dig it. I dig it. It's at the end of the day, I'm mentally tired because I've usually got like 8 or 9 students at least. So I'm basically helping with 8 or 9 different machining projects and trying to keep all the blueprints straight and all of that stuff. It's a little mentally taxing, but it's good and it's healthy.
Now, are the people that are they there because they want to be there?
By and large, yes.
Okay. I bet that would make a huge difference.
Oh, big time. Big time. I've only had 1 or 2 students, maybe up to 3, that I'm like, why the fuck are you here?
Yeah.
And they usually last not even a whole semester. So, but now, I try to give them the exact same amount of enthusiasm and help that I give anybody else, but I can't do it for them.
Where did your question come from, Michael? What do you mean? Are they there because they want to be there?
Well, I was thinking of like Abby and her teaching high school and some of the trials and tribulations of dealing with kids who are just assholes, basically.
Right.
And it's because they're doing a class they don't really want to be at. And I think when you get to like the upper level or something more niche like that, where they want to be there, they want to learn, it changes things.
Oh, definitely.
And this thing is a college thing, right? Like a trade school.
Yeah. It's through the Maysville Community and Technical College, which is part of the Kentucky Community and Technical College system. And when they get done, they'll have certifications as a CNC machinist and a manual machinist, and they'll have tested out to state standards.
Right. So, we had assholes in college when I was in college too, but at least they're paying there to be assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It seems like a big piece of what you mentioned, Sean, about it feeling healthy to go do it is as much about getting out of your own head for a little while as anything, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, man. It's just it's a change up and it's good. And like I'm friends with my department head. I'm friends with the welding instructor. Like the welding instructor actually, if I wanted to, I could take any class in the community college system, the KCTCS system, for free. And the welding instructor is going through the machining program right now. And he just completed the 124, which is the 102 class last semester.
Nice.
And he and I have really hit it off. We get along real well. Tyler, if you're listening to this, hey, buddy.
Is he listening to this?
Probably not.
But just in case.
Podcasts are his jam, but just in case. He's my buddy. I'll give him a shout out.
He's getting it covered. So generally speaking, it's going well, and it's a healthy thing for your brain, sounds like. And I know from doing a lot of mentorship stuff with young engineers, that whole process can be super rewarding anyway, right? Just like I often have people say, man, I really appreciate you taking time to talk with me about stuff and give me advice. And I always tell them I learn at least as much as you guys do when we do these kind of conversations and, when we're sitting down going through stuff together. Are you finding that same thing? Whether it's learning about people or how to approach things, or even, somehow people manage to screw things up in very unusual ways, right? and trying to find your way out of it. Do you find a learning aspect from it as well?
Oh, yeah, big time. Number one, learning to deal with different people and the different learning styles.
Yeah.
Like everybody learns in a little bit different way. You have some similarities in different groups across the board, but everybody has their own little quirks, And I try to do the best I can to tailor to each student to play to their strengths and kind of shore up their weak points and help them out. And now before I go too much farther, I actually have a teaching assistant now. And we're trying to
Oh.
get him on as a permanent fixture once he completes the course. And his name's Bill Hammond. And Bill, man, former firefighter, EMT, and he has worked in a job shop for 20 plus years. And he was going through the course just to get his certs for shits and giggles, basically. And we got him on a work study and have picked him up as a teaching aide. And I think, let's see, he's been with me 3 semesters now. And he's like my fucking left hand. He's there when I need him. And with some of the larger classes we've had, the kids have just gotten a much better education because he was there. Because, I mean, you get to the point where if I don't have somebody to help me, you're going to have a bunch of dudes and chicks just standing at machines, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for me to get to them.
Yeah.
And he and I can keep a workflow going. We can keep everybody engaged. And the way I present him to the class is, I'm like, this is my teaching assistant, and you should treat him the same way you treat me. And one of the great things about having him here is he's a resource for you, because Bill does some things differently than I do. I do some things differently than Bill does. And we're going to show you both of those ways, and neither way is wrong. And you're going to find this to be true in a lot of machining as you go through your journey through life, that there's more than one way to do it. And you just got to find the way that works right for you.
Yep.
So do you call it like the lab? You know,
Yeah. We have a computer room where if I've in the 101 class, I try to give a quiz every other week to try and it helps me gauge where they are, how they're catching on, who needs help where, and that sort of thing. And we do that in the computer lab, and the computer lab is attached to the actual machine shop lab.
So what is the first thing they do in the machine shop, in the lab?
The first thing we have them do is use a hacksaw and use a hand tap and a hand turn die.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're not just stepping up to a Bridgeport.
No. I try to have them. See, day one, we usually do a little bit of orientation. I give my safety talk, and then we go do hand tool stuff and a little bit of freehand grinding stuff just to get them, accustomed to what a pedestal grinder is and that sort of stuff. And it helps me kind of gauge how comfortable they are or aren't with tools before we actually get them in front of something that could hurt them or hurt somebody else.
Okay. So how many is it that you do at once? How many students are in a machine shop that you're like, oh shit?
Man, given my druthers, I would prefer to have 5 or 6 students.
Yeah.
The most I've had to this point is 11.
Yeah.
And that gets a little hectic just from a workflow standpoint, because this meal is good for this meal is good for that. And there's some logistics involved with keeping everybody busy.
Yeah, I would bet so. Go ahead.
And then just trying to bounce around, make sure everybody's doing what they need to be doing, that there's no major fuck-ups on the horizon, that everybody's got their game plan in place and they're executing properly.
Okay. So is it like everyone has their own mill and you're making this cut, a 4-inch cut across or whatever?
No. What we do, the way we work it is, okay, day one, I'm going to get them in there. We give the talk. We do the hand tool stuff. If I get a chance, we'll start talking about using a dial caliper.
Okay.
Day 2, we're definitely talking about using a dial caliper. We are going to touch on what a micrometer is, and we're going to go heavy over how to read a blueprint. While we're talking about reading a blueprint, I'm going to take them out. I'm going to do a little bit of work on the mill. I'm going to do a little bit of work on the lathe. And then I'm going to let each of them, make some rudimentary cuts on the lathe. You do a facing cut, do a Z cut, Yeah. Just skim off some material, get a feel for what it's like. let them drill a hole on the mill. You get some folks in there, man. I mean, this is their first time ever doing anything like that.
Oh, I can imagine. Do you show them the video that I sent you about facing?
Dude, I would, but sometimes I'm afeared that there are a few of them that would take it to heart and bring in their own angle grinder, bless their hearts.
Yeah, that was pure rage bait. And for your information, Mark, it was he had like someone was milling the face off something, but it was a full like inch low.
Oh,
so
wow.
like this left a big nub, and then he just took an angle grinder to it and took it off. I mean, it was pure just a rage bait video, but I just sent it to Sean without saying anything.
Oh, dude, my left eye started twitching while I was.
Yeah.
He made the first cut, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" That's where I would come up to a student, and my language can be a little colorful in class. I like to think it helps me get my point across sometimes.
There you go.
Be like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing? What the fuck is this?"
It's very appropriate for a machine shop.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
my
what I tell
experience.
them.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't like the way I talk, you might want to reconsider the field you're going into.
Yeah.
Yeah, your safety, your fingers. This isn't the time for niceties.
Right.
Now, with the safety thing, to a certain extent, I'm a little lucky that we're rural, because I tell them about the lathe. I'm like, you guys have seen the warning on the tractor axles and drive shafts, how it shows somebody getting pulled into one? Well, the lathe will do that to you. And you'd be surprised how well that works for getting the point across.
No, I bet so. Well, then probably just a little bit better information about, they may have seen one, or I don't know. Just more access to that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and Matt, between you and me, I would rather have somebody in class who has no idea what they're doing. Some of the hardest times I've had teaching to this point are guys who have been in a shop for maybe 6 months or so, maybe a year at best. And, they're going through the program so that they can move up the ranks and get a raise or whatnot. And I'm trying to unteach them all of this fucking shit that somehow they've managed to teach themselves. And
do you have an
have
example
that blank slate
of something that somebody just had ingrained in them that was just kind of like, that's the wrong way to do it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, not only are you wrong, but you're stupid. And let me show you why.
We would like an example of one of those if you've got one. You don't have to give names.
Man, one of the biggest things I have that I've had to smack people's arms is the majority of our mills are variable speed. Actually, all of the Bridgeports are variable speed. And the big thing is you don't adjust the speed unless they're running. If you try to adjust the speed when they're not running, it fucks up the belt system in it.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I've got to where I'm really good about just standing there and watching. And as soon as I see their hand go to start cranking the knob to adjust the speed without it going, smack, stop. What are you doing? I'm adjusting speed. Why the fuck are you doing it right now? The motor's not running. Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on. And then they flip it on. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just put a VFD on mine. That's pretty much my solution
on
for everything.
on these specific Bridgeports, they got the kind of hand wheel dial on the side, and you just dial in your speed. And if they're not running, the way it works is you've got the motor spindle and then what's actually attached to the spindle where the collets and everything go. And you've got opposing tapers on each of those, and that's how the speed gets adjusted. And if they're not running and you start putting slack in that, when you crank that motor on, it's going to throw that belt off. And then you've got a problem.
I've looked at we have what's called OTC, Ozark Technical Community College, and they put in like a shitload of Haas machines, lathes, and whatever. And I've just been like, interesting.
Yeah. Now let's see. We've got two Haas mills, VF2s, and then a Haas lathe, and then we've got 2 ProtoTrack cabinet mills and a ProtoTrack lathe. And now as far as stuff, we've also got a Leadwell CNC mill, which we just use to show a different programming language and different input style, and getting students working on not just a Haas pendant, but working on a different pendant style as far as, getting everything entered in and doing your offsets and all that stuff. And then we've got an Okuma CNC turret lathe that, man, we're trying like hell to get that guy up and running because it's really a cool, really great machine.
Yeah.
I think it's like a fucking 14 tool changer on it and everything.
Oh, shit.
But just getting it, something's off. We're not really sure what it is. And one of these days we'll get it there.
Do you guys use like the Haas training? What is that part called? It's just the computerized part, the board.
Oh, yeah. We've got just like a pendant that isn't attached to the lathe. Yeah. But
What the hell that thing's called?
we don't really use it that much.
Yeah. It
It's
seems
just
like
a
why
lot
not?
easier to get them in front of it and
Yeah.
let them cut and make their own mistakes here and there.
Let's see. All right.
But now that's not really my department either. Everything I teach is manual.
You thinking about doing a little schooling, Michael?
If I had an ounce of time, which I aim at the least amount of time possible, it's like the wife's talked about going for a doctor and stuff, and it's just there's zero time right now for either one of us to do anything really. But man, it makes me drool. When actually Abby told me about it, I was like, ooh, all those CNC lathes and shit. Because I still want one. I'd have to have something lined up to do it.
Yeah.
Some sort of product before I'd even think about investing.
Right.
So I guess one of my questions is like, what machine makes you the most nervous with your newer students? Or what process that you do? What makes you go, fuck?
And really, those first couple classes where they're stepping up to the lathe or the mill,
Yeah.
I got to keep a close eye. I stay vigilant. And eventually, I'm like, okay, nobody's cut themselves yet. Nobody's broke anything. And I can relax a little bit because it's not one specific thing, because there's so many things that could go wrong.
Yeah. And quickly.
Oh, real quick. That's the problem. And I really try to, impart that, beat that into them on the first day is, the minute you quit paying attention, and you're disrespecting that tool. And the minute you disrespect the tool, it's going to teach you a lesson you're not going to forget.
Yeah. Do you show them your cloven hoof at that point?
No. Although eventually they get to see it.
Yeah. Be like, I wasn't paying attention at the bandsaw, and look what happened.
Yeah, man.
Shit happens.
Dude, I give them a lot of the do as I say, not as I do talks.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that kind of leads to, what is the dumbest thing you've seen happen there?
Man, thankfully, I've not seen anybody get hurt.
That's good.
Really good.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I've seen so many drill bits get ruined. This semester, I actually had a part, and I was like, I'm going to hold on to that. And it wasn't really the student's fault. We had a power outage, and the DROs on the lathes had all completely reset back to factory, which is in metric. And he was running a project that was in imperial. And he got the neck on this kind of bolt he was making so thin that when he went to do threading cut, to actually spiral cut the thread into this bolt he was making, it bent it at like a fucking 50-degree angle, man, and kept cutting. It's the damnedest thing. And I was like, God damn, man, what happened? And it's like, why did you, machine that neck so thin? Because that's not the call out on the paper. And he goes, well, that's what my DRO said. I thought I was doing right, and we got to looking, it was set in metric.
Ah.
But it was a learning moment, and I held on to it. I was like, dude, I'm going to hold on to that. That actually looks kind of neat. And then I showed them, it was 1018 steel, it's fucking low carbon stuff, really easy to work with, really cheap. But I was able to show them, I was like, you see where it's so thin here and where it's been bent so hard to the side. If you look really close here, you can see where the actual steel is starting to form a stress riser that's going to eventually break if it kept going. And it was a neat little thing for everybody to see, and we had a good laugh, and more importantly, nobody got hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, mistakes are going to happen. What you do with them is the most important. Sometimes it's just throw it away for me.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes that's what happens.
Dude, we've got a big bin in the back of the shop that it's 3.5 foot tall by 3 foot wide by 3 foot wide. And we do a pretty good job of filling it up every semester.
Yeah.
The bin of broken dreams.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to keep stuff like that. Unless it's going to be something I can recycle, I just throw it away.
Yeah, now eventually this all goes to recycling.
Yeah, I don't need to see it anymore. I don't need to whatever. There's no saving it. There's no reason to hold on to that shit. So,
what about learning to teach, Sean? I mean, so your instructor asked you to come give it a shot, and you did. I'm going to guess you learned a bunch the first semester and have continued to kind of evolve the best way to actually teach other people. Because you've not had any real formal training as an instructor per se, right?
No, none.
So what was your approach with that, and kind of what's been your mode when you're trying to learn to be a better teacher, which I expect happens every semester, right? At least that's what we all would strive for in that situation.
And okay, as far as that goes, every semester you're growing a little bit because you're encountering new personalities and new ways that people learn, and the ways you'll have to adapt your teaching to the way they learn. And that's good. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you fresh. It's definitely never boring. And man, the biggest thing I think is being able to communicate in a friendly manner. I like to keep everything light. I like to stay as approachable as I can possibly be. Like, if I am going to cuss at you, I'm going to cuss at you like I'm giving you a hard time. Not because I'm angry, not because I'm disappointed. I'm going to cuss at you because you're a friend. And look, you fucked up, you fucking idiot. But here's what we can do so that don't happen again.
Has anyone ever been like, I don't appreciate the cursing, or is that?
No,
dude,
it actually really breaks the ice with a lot of kids.
Yeah.
They open up to me, they talk to me it just makes communicating with me easier to most of them.
Yeah. I can get that.
Yeah.
It's just different world these days, but I assume it's still the, type of folks that want to get into that stuff are pretty laid back and.
Oh, definitely. And well, for the most part, I mean, you can't paint with too broad a brush, but I haven't had any complaints filed with the office yet. So.
All right. You're staying good.
There's still a chance.
Yeah, I said yet.
Now, the big question is, do you have one of those signs that say how many days since your last accident?
No.
I'm very disappointed.
I hope we never need one.
Yeah.
Because that's paperwork.
Right. Recordable incident, they call it. That's where I work. Nobody's got time for that.
So is this something you want to continue doing, or do you want to move into some of the CAD stuff or the CNC teaching or learning, or are you pretty just kind of happy where you are now?
I'm happy with where I am right now. I've got enough experience with manual that I'm comfortable with how I present. I'm comfortable with my level of knowledge, and that when I talk about it, I can talk about it very confidently, because they want to open up another whole other basically set of courses on a different campus, and they've offered it to me, like, you can go in, you can run this, and I turned them down. Yeah, I just don't think, man, it would take so much of my time. Like, they've got, let's see, Tormach surface grinder, 2 Tormach mills, a Haas lathe, and then a few manual mills and a few manual lathes just sitting. They've been gathering dust for 2 years now.
Really?
Yep.
How have you heard anything about that Tormach surface grinder? They kind of popped up, and I just rarely ever see anyone with one.
Dude, I haven't even been over there to look, because, you know, on my school days, I'm there, I'm teaching, and then otherwise I don't want to set up with the different campus coordination to get in there and all that stuff. And then the one time they had Tormach training there at the school, I was in Portland for the Billy and Nick show.
Oh, okay.
And I can't in good conscience tell them I can teach that when I would be learning as I went.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't be comfortable. I wouldn't feel like I was giving the kids their money's worth with those courses.
That makes sense. So do you use some of those machines too, or is it like, do you have tool and
I could, yeah, if I had time. I went in with that in my head, like, you know, maybe not in the 101 class, but definitely in the 102, I'll be able to bring in some stuff I need to work on and get it done. Wrong. That's not the way that goes.
Just all teaching?
Yeah, they keep me hustling.
So is there stuff that you're like, man, I kind of wish I had one of those at home?
Yeah, dude, I mean, just the mills are really nice.
Like all clean and not bullshit from a factory that we bought 20 years ago?
We've got a few that are like that. But, I mean, you got to think about some of these, man. They've been there 10 years, some of them 15 years, and there's been a lot of learning done on those.
Yeah.
Just to say some fucking stupid shit has been done on them.
Yeah, I just think of like a lot of the machines we bought when we were coming to the knife making, which, one, we didn't know shit about what to even buy. We bought what was available and near us. And they usually all had some sort of number from, you know, where they were in the lineup in the factory, which may not be school, but it's also a lot of apprentices fucking shit up on.
Yeah, that's basically what you're seeing with some of these. We do have 3 new Prototrack CNC capable manual mills, but everything else has a little bit of wear and tear on it.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of those machines with machine tags on them, those things ran 24 hours a day for decades.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what we bought.
Right. Yep.
We're like, I can afford that. Fucking whatever.
Yeah.
So I got one of those that I use all the time. That's what I got my my Boyer Schultz surface grinder with the the wheel on it. Not the wheel, but the belt conversion on it. That's got a big old number 5 on it, and who knows how fucking many times or how long it's run.
Right. Well, it kind of goes to the point, right? They ran for many decades before you guys got that stuff, and they're kind of made to run many decades more, right? Because the work that you guys do with them is child's play, right? It's like easy living in retirement compared to what most of those machines probably ran in their lifetime.
Yeah. But most of them got an old leasing motor on it that somehow it's still fucking going. It's wild.
Man, the leasings are made to last.
Yeah. Yeah, that ain't no shit.
Really, right?
I went around and looked at how many like my motors were leasing around here, and I bet I've got 19 or something just in various fucking either pump motors or the actual grinder motor, just all over the place, hidden around, just running shit.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you have other questions, Michael?
I do have an important question.
Oh.
It's a safety question. For years and years, when we first started learning the grinding, we fucking didn't wear any gloves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
No gloves at all, because it'll suck your finger in, kill you, take your hand, your body, your soul. So is that still the proper no gloves around grinders?
Oh, dude, around grinders, mills, lathes, drill presses, you name it. We don't allow gloves in the shop.
All right. I
Actually,
still see it.
now I take that back. We do allow gloves in the shop when we're cleaning out the chip beds on the lathes, because you got basically a big long ribbon of fucking razor blade, and if you don't wear a decent glove, you're going to regret it. But
Then
that's
how
the
they
only time gloves are allowed in our lab.
How they get the manly hands then?
Yeah.
Gotta have some
I don't
war
want them
wounds.
getting manly hands on my time because, like I said,
Mhm.
that's paperwork.
Yeah, that I still see like people grinding on Instagram or whatever, and just gloves, and I'm just like, oh, still makes me hurt.
I could break them from it.
Well, that's why you got that stellar record.
Where do you think it's all going to go, Sean? Do you think the teaching thing is kind of find your groove, enjoy it, and that just kind of is what it is as like a time filler, help get some more folks, moved along a path in life? Or do you see it changing at all or heading anywhere different?
Man, I kind of like where I am right now. If the pay was a little better, it's the kind of thing I would consider potentially doing full time, because
Yeah,
it's nice when you fuck up and it's not your own material and you don't have a deadline.
And it's something like 1018.
Yeah,
That'd
I
be
mean,
nice.
my Thursdays are super low stress, man.
yeah.
I mean, the most I stress is, oh man, how can I help them understand this concept? And usually I'm pretty good about finding a way.
Trying to think up a new cool nickname for some dipshit in your class.
Man,
What?
the nicknames usually create themselves pretty quick.
There you
I
go.
bet so. So how long have you been doing it? How long have you been teaching now?
Man. 2.5 years.
Guess that's not a lot of time, but I guess it's worth asking, is there seem to be more interest, less interest?
Oh, more.
More? Okay.
Yeah, we're adding, let's see. Yeah, we're averaging 9 to 11 students these past 2 semesters. And that's a pretty full class.
I think, I go back and forth on social media about love, hate, toxic, whatever, all the shit you can say. But I do think that one thing it brings to the table is like pride in some of these crafting and types of jobs, like welding and machining and stuff like that. People posting them doing the work and doing it well and getting lots of feedback on it, which is kind of great.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely been good for our program, and we really don't use it enough in our recruiting. And I know that a lot of my students, if they're anticipating something, they'll have watched at least one YouTube video before they attempt something.
Yeah.
If they know, like, say they finish their project for the day, and I go ahead, I've printed out their blueprint for their next project, but they don't have time to start it, and they take the blueprint home with them. A lot of the time, when they come in, they'll have watched something on YouTube about a similar project.
Now, it's not like they watch some Titans of CNC and they're like, they said I can run this at, 2 inches depth of cut at, 80 inch per minute, something like that.
And I let them try. That teaches its own lesson real quick.
Yeah. If it works, it's good. If it doesn't, you're paying for the end mill.
And I tell them, well, you're not doing CNC. This is manual. If I catch you on a CNC, I'm going to kick your ass out of class for the day.
What do you think? I mean, do you have any read, Sean, from the students that are there? Because I expect you have not just people out of high school. You got people later in life and other stuff. Like, you probably have a fairly wide range of ages. Maybe biased young, but
biased young. But yeah, we have quite a few non-trad students.
Yeah.
And guys who have been in the workforce for some time, and their company usually is paying for them to get their credentials.
Okay.
So that they can just be a better machinist, be more of an asset to the company. That's not uncommon, really.
So you said you think that that if anything, the I don't know, the enrollment or interest or number of students or whatever seems to be increasing. Do you ever read from talking to your students why that is?
Dude, a lot of the time, they've had somebody in the family who was a machinist who told them, hey, this work ain't going to kill you. You'll make a good living. And, maybe a teacher. Now, some of them were coming in and they've had a little bit of vocational experience in high school. I mean, really, it's different things. Like we go to a few different high schools in the area and we'll set up a table, which I don't say we. Kenny, our department head, will set up a table and talk to kids about it and put out the good word.
Oh. So what you're saying is you need one of those traveling Bridgeport and lathe mill holding trucks.
Oh, man, we would get so many more students if we had one of those.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you send that to me or did I send that to someone
sent that
else?
to you, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, what was it, the West Bend truck?
Yeah. It's fucking cool as shit.
Now, did you scroll through to see the station wagon with the flip-out tailgate?
Yeah. Yeah.
What we're talking about, I sent Michael a thing I found on Instagram, and it was West Bend, basically a rolling machine shop in a panel van.
Oh, wow.
And had multiple pictures of that. They had like at least one lathe, a mill, some drill presses. I mean, you could have done some fucking work in the back of this panel truck. And then another of the pictures was I think it was a Chevy station wagon, and you opened up the hatchback and put the tailgate down, and there was a lathe on it. And the lathe ran off of some kind of belt system attached to the motor.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damnedest thing I've seen, man. It was cool as shit. Mark, if I can remember, I'll forward it to you. It was wicked cool.
Yeah.
I'm fine. We're saying South Bend, not West
South Bend, that's it.
West Bend was different direction.
Wow.
I'm just copying that because that was cool as shit. Maybe think of the old subs and stuff with their lathes and machine stuff all bolted down.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's, like Michael said earlier, right? I think there's like a bit of a, I don't know, with people understanding that college costs are brutal and, right, sometimes it's a bad business proposition, right? Somebody goes and wants to do a job that requires a master's degree, and when they get there, they realize, oh shit, I'm not going to make any money doing this job, right? Or not a ton of dough to even pay back my student loan, right? Stuff along the way. It seems like there's been kind of a slowly building revival of people looking again to trades type work. And I wonder if that's a factor in what you're seeing.
It has to be. And it's really cool when like someone has a badass weld and then you see like 300 comments that are like, bro, that weld's fucking nice. It's like, it's, I don't know. It makes you feel good about humanity and where we're at anymore.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. There was some stigma once upon a time, right? That going to work a trades job was like, I don't know. It was like,
it's like you were phoning it in.
A solid lower tier kind of aspiration. And I think it's a great thing to see people taking it seriously, right? Seeing the value in what can be a really fantastic career, right? Whether it's as a machinist or an electrician or I don't know, any of the trades jobs. They're plumber, right? You make fantastic living as a plumber.
Fucking shitload
Run
of
your
money.
own businesses
Taking pride in it.
right.
Semantics right there. You said career. If you want it to be, it's not just a job.
Right.
It is an actual career.
Yeah, man.
And it can be a very fulfilling career.
Yeah. I like it. It's a good thing.
Man, to be honest with you, I see now part of me sees the teaching thing as a little bit of a patriotic duty also. I feel like I can only do so much to help the country, but I feel I would like for American manufacturing to make a comeback. I sincerely believe that we are in dire need of it, and American manufacturing cannot make a comeback without skilled machinists. And I'm doing my little part here in the middle of nowhere to create as many skilled machinists as I possibly can.
Yeah.
God bless the USA.
Cue the Lee Greenwood.
Kill a commie for your mommy.
Yeah. Well, and
On the Riveter.
Sean the Riveter. Doesn't have the same kind of ring.
No.
I think, I don't know if you've had the experience yet, but one of the things that I've always found super cool, and again, back to the rewarding side of it, right, is you're already feeling pride in doing what you're doing. And, you know, when I've mentored young engineers over the years and then I see them progress, right, and move through the company into leadership roles and other stuff, I've probably every other week I'm sending an email to somebody saying, hey man, congratulations. This is a cool deal, right? It's really, really neat to see someone that you spoke with and spent time with, or, you know what I mean? Were involved with as a mentor or someone who's just given some advice, go out and do good stuff for themselves, for their company, for their own career, whatever you want to look at it from. It's really cool. And to know that you had at least even a little teeny tiny bit of input or encouragement or advice along the way, it's a special thing.
Yeah, man, one of the best feelings I get is when a student and we're working on something and they're having a hard time getting it, and eventually it clicks, and the look on their face, and that you can tell that they feel like they are the smartest motherfucker in the room for that at that point in time. And that's a cool feeling, knowing that you helped them have that.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was a very interesting chat, fellas.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys were willing to listen to me talk.
You just enjoyed being the star. Let's be honest.
Oh, I ain't going to deny
all about Sean.
If people want to go to the merch table, grab a t-shirt, CD, maybe a poster.
It's gotten so ingrained into my hermit lifestyle that like you go away for teaching, this right here, this podcast where I'm still sitting in my shop is my version of getting out.
Yeah. That's for real.
It is.
We've said a lot of times, right? This podcast has, I think, helped all four of us get outside our own heads every once in a while.
Oh, I know with me exponentially.
At least lets me bitch and vent.
Well, that too.
There's therapy in that, my man.
That's a fact. That's why there are such things as rage rooms today.
Yeah.
All right. We got anything else we want to hit on this before we wrap her up?
I don't think so.
No.
I just hope we see many years of Tom not being with us. No, Sean. Instead of Sean teaching.
Yeah. And you never know. Maybe something really cool is around the corner with that, right?
Yeah.
A way to do it more or get more involved, or
If they continue to expand, there's a possibility, because when I first came in, we had another campus where 101 and 102 were taught.
Yeah.
And I actually took 101 at one campus and 102 at a different campus.
Kind of
So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for your patience with our questions, man.
Really my pleasure. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy talking about it and sharing it with you guys.
Yeah. What last one I just popped into my head. So if people are out there who are interested in doing something like this, who have this kind of skill, or I guess any skill that's taught at a vocational school or any kind of hands-on sort of thing, what would you suggest they do as far as expressing interest in doing the kind of thing you're doing?
Man, I got lucky, and now, you guys talk about the professor and all that stuff. Technically, I'm what's called an adjunct instructor.
Yeah.
And to be an adjunct instructor, really all you need are your certifications.
Okay.
And then I'm sure that in some places, if you can prove, a certain amount of, workforce participation and capability,
yeah,
they would probably accept you because, guys in my position, the adjunct instructor position, the position who are getting these folks, hopefully with a running start into the field, we're few and far between.
Right.
I mean, I am so lucky to have my teacher's assistant.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe somebody listening will go out and explore it a little more and maybe find their own value in doing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it is something you're interested in, just go to the community college near you, or what do they call it at the high school? At the high school across the river in Kentucky, they call it the Career Magnet School.
There you go.
And man, just ask to talk to whoever the director of the program is. Tell them you think you might be able to bring something to the party. And given how things are right now, they may very well be very thankful to have an extra hand in the lab.
Right. Even if it's as a teaching assistant to start, right?
Man, I mean, I give my teaching assistant all the leeway he needs to teach because I trust his skill, I trust his judgment, and it's good for my students to see two different ways to approach a problem. I think it gives them a much broader horizon as far as how they're going to approach problems in the real world goes.
Right.
Hopefully they see that you don't need to be married to a certain dogma, and that even if it sounds stupid and looks stupid, if it works well, it's neither of those things, right?
Yep. Well, I want to say thank you again to our friends on Patreon for all of your support. We're going to do those giveaways quarterly, so like I said, our Patreon folks get a little extra giveaway. We'll have one in the Facebook group and one in Patreon, just like we did this first time around. The guys from Giant Mouse have volunteered to help us make that happen, so that's fantastic. So more of that to come. On our sponsors, Giant Mouse, Paladin 33, and Arizona Custom Knives. We appreciate all of you.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And if Arizona wants to start giving away some Kronks or something,
Kronk giveaways to the staff of Mark of the Maker.
I can be a bit of a Patreon myself.
Right. All right. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
See y'all.
Take care, folks. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
To learn more about our makers, you can find Tom Crine in his Facebook group, Crine Knives, or on Instagram @Crine Knives. For Michael Birch, check birchtreeblades.com, Facebook group Birch Tree Blade Works, or Michael's Instagram @BirchtreeBlades. For my own projects, I'm on the web at raygundivision.com, or check my personal Instagram @msteiner. For those interested in photos, references from the show, or discussion about the show itself, you can always find us on the web at markofthemaker.com, in a Facebook group called Mark of the Maker, or on our Instagram @markofthemaker. Last but not least, credit for the ultra cool and haunting background music we use for the show. This is a piece called Noir Guitar by Stevie's Amp Shack, found at the Free Music Archive and licensed under Creative Commons CC BY 4.0. And as always, thanks for listening.